Hi guys, this is Jeffrey, JGB146 Blake from GrinderSchool.com. Today I want to talk to you about the recent developments in the poker industry. Many of you probably already know that it's become difficult to play online poker if you live in the US and are trying to play on any of the major sites that you're used to playing on. There are other sites, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But it's not because of anything you did. It's not because anything you did was illegal, or is illegal, or hopefully ever will be illegal. Anyone who confuses that issue, and there are a lot of people that are, is mistaken. What happened last week was that the FBI arrested executives from the top poker sites, 3 major companies, PokerStars, Full Tilt, and the Sirius Network, which includes Absolute Poker and UB and possibly some other sites. They're all affected by this. Not the entire poker industry. And the reason that they were arrested had little to do with the fact that they were involved in online poker. It had to do with the practices that they were following to do their payment processing and to get money onto their sites. Essentially, there were 2 things that they did that caused the arrests. So first, they were setting up shell companies. There were various online jewelry sites and I guess technology companies, that sort of thing, where people could make large purchases, never actually receive an item, but instead the purchase would go onto their poker account. I haven't ever seen any of these sites, but from all the reading I've done, this is what was happening. That's something that is otherwise known as money laundering, and it's not looked upon favorably by people like the FBI and the Department of Justice. That said, I don't know whether it was illegal technically or not, because again, online poker is not illegal. If we go back to the 2006 Unlawful Internet Gaming Enforcement Act, what the text of the act actually says is basically that it's going to set up all these penalties for processing payments and transfers to, quote, illegal online gaming and gambling. There's no law that defines that illegal online gambling to include poker, or in fact to include many activities. There were caveats that specifically said even in places where this could be considered to apply, it does not apply to state lotto or to horse racing. But that doesn't mean that it applies to all other gambling. It stated illegal online gambling. It didn't make activities illegal. What it did was apply specifically to those activities that were already illegal. And the only laws that have been found to set any precedence for what is online gambling that is illegal, at the federal level, I'll note, there's a caveat that we'll throw in at the end here, but at the federal level, the only laws that apply is the 1961 Wiretap Act, which basically states that, as a subsection, that sports betting over the U.S. phone lines is illegal. So that applies because it was later interpreted that the internet was a transfer over the phone lines. That's a little bit untrue now with all the cable internet, but it's since been interpreted that way. So online sports betting is illegal. Anyone processing payments for online sports betting is subject to the UIGEA penalties. That's not the case for online poker. The reason that things changed for online poker on the basis of the UIGEA is that it made more sense to just avoid the hassle for a lot of banks. So that's what they did. They just said, you know what, we're not even going to mess with it. We're just going to not involve ourselves, and we're not going to process payments there, and we don't have to worry. That way they don't have to keep up to date on the laws about what transactions are legal, what types of gambling are legal and are not. They can blanket not support any of it, and they don't have to worry about getting in trouble. So question number 1 is whether or not money laundering to a legitimate legal activity is something that can be punishable. I don't know. That's really the crux of what we'll go to court about. And I'm sure that really the poker sites are just going to settle. But that's the point of the issue. The other issue was kind of a related thing. PokerStars, I don't know if the other companies were involved in this or not, but PokerStars specifically, and it may just be that they all use the same payment processor. They set up a deal with a bank in Utah to process payments. Again, Not necessarily good or bad, not necessarily a problem, unless they were violating other laws. And we'll get into the caveat. I'm almost there, I promise. But to set up this deal, in order to get this bank to process their payments, they agreed to make a $10 million investment into said bank. So that's a little fishy too. It turns out the executive at the bank who processed this got a nice, healthy 6-figure bonus the following year. So yeah, a little bit of shady business going on there, which is why it's another addendum to the charges. But overall, the crux of the debate is still money laundering to a legal site or a legal activity. Is that a crime or not? We'll find out. So, now the caveat. I said that online poker has never been outlawed at the federal level. It has been outlawed at the state level. There is a law in the state of Washington that says online poker is a Class C felony if you're playing for real money. I think it's a ridiculous law. I think we all agree about that. But there's a chance that all of the charges that we've talked about will apply specifically and be carried out and will doom the defendants because they were processing stuff and supporting play from players in the state of Washington. I know that most poker sites have a caveat in their user agreement that you agree that you've already researched and are telling the site that you can legally play. So maybe they'll get out of it that way by saying, oh, well, these people signed contracts essentially saying that they could legally play. How were we to know? But in all truth, they could have detected the location of the players and prevented it. So that's the debate, and that's the one area where these charges might stick a little bit. And again, I think that in the end, what'll happen is there'll just be a settlement, and the companies may decide, like Party Poker did in 2006, that they just want to get out of the U.S. market. They don't want to deal with it. What's going to happen in the meantime is that the sites that weren't caught up in this, the kind of second-tier sites, are going to start to blow up. So we're going to see a lot of activity from the different sites that have previously been like the second tier, and some of them I think will do great things, and player support will actually be better. This is kind of what happened again. Party Poker had really bad software when they were the king. PokerStars had great software. Ultimate Bet had pretty good software. Full Tilt wasn't even around or was just starting, so they were trying to move in the right direction. But what happened? Party went out, and PokerStars rose to the top because they had the best software at the time. Well, now that Stars and Full Tilt and Ultimate Bet and Absolute Poker are all kind of going away, someone else is going to step up. And I'm going to split the video here. We'll do another video about what you can do to play going forward, where the best places to play are. With that, this is Jeffrey, JGB146 Blake for GrinderSchool.com, signing off.